good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World's 4th Global Education Meet. Today, when we are all here, I welcome you all to the 117th roundtable of Blub World. In the last 116 roundtables, we have talked to, interacted with more than 1,500 school leaders from all across the world, where they share their ideas, opinions, observations, and innovations, and whatever new was happening or they were doing in the K-12 space, or to put it simply, what's new in schools. In 2020, everybody knew that we had to be locked in our homes and enjoy the bliss of COVID. Why I call it a bliss is because we got a lot of time to introspect, think about ourselves, our lives. But 2021 is a transition. The way 2020 began, that it was an abrupt transition. We did not have the time to go from the real world to the virtual world. But now we have had a good lot of time and know that we have to again move back from the virtual to the real. And it seems that it is much difficult than the transition in 2020. So today, when we're talking, we're here to again create an idea repository for school leaders from across the world of innovations and ideas which they can implement within their institutions to improve the teaching learning process. So before we begin, some introduction of the platform. This is a bilingual platform, so you can use English or Hindi, any of these two languages. If you use a third language, we might not get it. So try using any of these two. Secondly, it's a timed platform. So once your speaking time is over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It is just to finish this activity on time and so that it's crisp and enjoyable for everybody. So just think of it not as a speech marathon, think of it as a 100-meter sprint. You have 3 minutes, give in your best foot, race to your highest speed, and let everybody give the time and enjoy the session more and more. So नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड की चौथी ग्लोबल एजुकेशन मीट में। आज अगले 60 से 100 मिनट जो आपने हमें दिए हैं, उसके अंदर हम आपसे जानेंगे 3 चीजें। We'll try to know from all of you 3 things. The first one being, what do you think will happen to schooling or school education in 2021? Secondly, any innovative approach that you've been using within your institution, which others can learn from you. And third, and the most important thing, we want you to do a little bit of crystal gazing for us. Tell us some of your bhavishyavani. What do you think 2021 में, future में या हमारे अगले 1 साल में स्कूल किस तरीके से चलेगा? And before we begin, just a small fact. A lot of states in India have started to open schools. Everybody imagined that once the schools will open, it will be a floodgate. कि एकदम से बहुत सारी भीड़ बच्चों की वापस आ जाएगी. But the reality is just the opposite of it. Once the schools opened, the attendance is dwindling around 3 to 8% only. So how do we think education is going to resume in 2021? So thank you everybody once again for joining in. Let's now start the 117th edition of the Blub World's 4th Global Education Meet. A very warm welcome once again. Let me invite the first speaker for today. And before I invite him, our chair for the roundtable will be joining us a little late due to some last minute adjustment that he had to do. So let me invite the first speaker for today. She is a parenting expert, comes from United Kingdom, and is sitting from an altogether different time zone. So it might be a good evening, a good morning for her and a good evening for us. A very warm welcome to Sue Atkins. She has been a very resourceful person in the field of parenting for Disney, BBC, and a lot more big brands across the world. Over to Sue to start this roundtable for the next 5 minutes, and a very warm welcome.
Right. Just to let you know, I'm a former deputy head and class teacher for over 25 years, and then I moved across into supporting parents. So I'm on the starting blocks, here I go. So the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in unprecedented disruption to schools and learning in the UK. At the moment, schools are shut and we are in total lockdown. This affects children, key workers, those identified as vulnerable being invited to attend. Most children in England were instead expected to learn remotely, with most schools providing learning materials for home use and for digital lessons. External exams didn't take place in 2020 and they're not going to take place again, we just heard yesterday, in 2021. So academic year and performance league tables for the year will not be published. Meanwhile, Ofsted inspections and reports were suspended throughout the pandemic year as well. So there has been significant focus on recovering the existing system. But there is also an opportunity here, I feel, to build back better. There is a growing sense of urgency about the need to recover the education system, and they keep talking about lost learning among students after or during this pandemic. But less has been said about the pandemic as an opportunity for us to reimagine our education system going forward. England's education system undoubtedly has strengths that we must seek to retain in the future, but it also suffers from very long-standing weaknesses that predate the pandemic. The pandemic provides us with an opportunity, I think, to stand back and reflect on these weaknesses. So how can we build back better? What do we want the new normal in schools to look like? And what do we need to do now to achieve that? Well, researchers identified 3 areas where the pandemic has the potential to open up new conversations about the future schoolings in England. These are set out in more detail in different research booklets, but I want to talk about the conversation about how our education system can prepare children for life, not just for exams. A conversation about where and how learning takes place needs to happen, as well as who is involved in it. I also believe there needs to be a conversation about the need to tackle inequalities outside as well as inside the classroom. So let's look at conversation 1, preparing children not just for exams. I think we must take the opportunity provided by the pandemic to reassess the role of accountability and assessment in education. In recent years, England has embraced an increasingly narrow academic curriculum, combined with very high stakes assessment and accountability. Now, this pandemic, then, I think, provides us with an opportunity to evaluate whether we want to revert to the same systems of assessment and accountability after the pandemic. Many system stakeholders agree that there is a place for both external assessment and accountability. But the evidence also suggests that the status quo results in too many unintended consequences, and in particular, teaching to the test, rather than focusing on learning in the round, broader curriculum. And gaming the system, such as off-rolling and narrowing the curriculum, started to happen throughout the UK, with limited evidence that results in better outcomes. So I also feel, where next? Well, parental engagement, obviously something I'm very interested as a parenting expert and author and broadcaster. As a first step, I will consider that the government should work with schools and parents, drawing on the blueprint from Parentkind, the charity that talks about parent-friendly schools, to set out an ambitious and new parental engagement strategy for all schools throughout the world. Parents working together with schools is a wonderful combination. And I think the UK governments or governments around the world should commit to building on the parental surveys that have been, commissioned. And they should provide funding to ensure that all teachers have access to training and effective parental engagement in all schools to support parents during this time and after. So the third conversation I think that needs to be happening is tackling the inequalities beyond the classroom. The pandemic has really highlighted that schools will have to reach beyond the classroom and the narrow educational inequalities. We went into the pandemic with yawning inequalities, particularly here in the UK, and with educational outcomes. The pandemic is likely to have widened this attainment gap. And recent government efforts, including the government's COVID-19 recovery plan, largely focuses on the academic support to close this gap. But the pandemic has demonstrated that the government needs to take inequalities beyond the classroom just as seriously, and children's mental health and their well-being, because such inequalities include disparities in parental support.
Thank you so much, Sue. The first speaking slot was over. We'll try to come back to you. To summarize what you said, you started with the urgent need to recover education. There is a sense of urgency that's building everywhere. It's an underlying emotion that just brought to the forefront. There's a lot of education-related weaknesses that were there in the system within India and across the world that just resurfaced. And we're able to see those, in black and white, so that we need to remove them. The gray areas are now less. Education has now become even more objective to deal with. Tackling inequality in the classroom and outside. This is something that everybody is tackling in their own ways. For a country like India, there's a big digital divide that's come up. A lot of people do not have access to the right infrastructure and the right devices to access that kind of education. But in some places, it's kind of a digital intrusion that they have a lot of access to everything, and they're then playing the Minecrafts and the YouTubes of the world during the class time. So there are two ends of the spectrum that we are experiencing everywhere. Assessments need to change. Teaching for the test, this is something that should be removed. Parent-friendly schools. In India, at least something new happened, that the perception of schools within the minds of parents has improved drastically, because school as a model has become transparent. The parents are able to see what's going on within the institution, so they're even more collaborative, contributive, and helpful towards the school. And tackling inequality outside the classroom, this is something which we would call the latest world problem, because digital divide exists in majorly all the countries, and as of now we do not have an affordable and compatible and safe solution for children across the world. So thank you so much, Sue. Let me invite the next speaker for today, who will add a little bit of experience from running a school in a very amazing place in India. The next speaker for today is Mr. Arpit Panjwani, Director, Ma Anandmai Memorial School from Rishikesh, Uttarakhand. Arpit, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio, and a very warm welcome.
Yes, hi, good evening, everybody. Firstly, thank you to Blub World for having me here today, and kudos to your entire team for having done this 116 times. Hats off to all of you. But quickly to summarize, to come to your first point, schooling in 2021 going to be very digitally heavy, dependent on technology. And of course, as my limited experience has taught me, inquiry based. Just to get kids used to digital learning, experiential learning, and of course, project-based learning. So I'll just quickly summarize what we've been doing right through these past 8 or 9 months. We've been fortunate to have something called an Atal Tinkering Lab with the support of the Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, Government of India, which has helped us do some skill building and exposure sessions, particularly focused on artificial intelligence, robotics, coding, which have also further helped us do programs which are devoted towards futuristic learning on core areas like digital marketing, web designing, graphics, game development, and so on. So things like these have really helped us build engagement, and I truly believe that most schools should adopt these measures, given the fact that education in future, which is higher education, and of course jobs of tomorrow, are going to change and not going to be relevant. The ones today not going to be relevant tomorrow. We also happened to organize, I think we're the only school in and around this area to organize a virtual TEDx event. This was an event specially devoted towards student leadership right through COVID-19, the initiative students have undertaken, and of course to show innovations that students have undertaken to build certain problem solving and innovative sort of products that students have come up with. Something that has really helped me maintain student engagement as well as work with my parents is the International School Award of the British Council. I think Mr. Bist is on this call, would like to congratulate him for running that through in his school. And that is an excellent program for kids to collaborate with the students from other schools, not just in India, but abroad. We've been doing the Green Campus program with Climate Reality that really gets kids really used to hands-on learning about biodiversity by making their projects and submissions that need to be reported online. We've reopened school. I would like to share that. Uttarakhand, we've been particularly great to reopen for grade 10 and 12. And contrary to all the other states, we've had 90% plus students come back to campus simply because we've also been blessed to be situated in an area that is away from the real COVID hotspots. And Uttarakhand has not been so deeply infested with COVID. So we are emphasizing now with outdoor learning so that kids can really be out and, enjoy the winter sun, as well as, in a play-way sort of methodology, learn in the serene environments. We've been doing the AFS exchange program with which we've been collaborating with other schools. Students have been doing exchange programs with other schools in India and abroad to share their experiences. The International Award for Young People, where kids can pursue their skills, their service aspects, as well as certain sports and fitness sessions virtually. That's really been helpful. Now, when you were talking about parental engagement, I thought schools need to step up. So we did some form of crowdsourcing and crowdfunding to source free books and stationery for our students. And that really helped more and more parents to log in and understand that the school is genuinely committed. Not just books and stationery. I am really fortunate to have great supporters of the school who donated quite benevolently to support underserved students in continuing their educational journey. So some people donated their full year's fee.
Thank you so much, Arpit ji. To summarize what you said, since the time slot's over, we'll try to come back. Digitally heavy education, inquiry-based learning, adult tinkering labs are the concept of tinkering and doing a lot of new activities, entrepreneurship and a lot of stuff that's associated with it. Future jobs need a new definition and would need a completely new curriculum to serve them or create them. Virtual TEDx that you organized, and एक बड़ा fact जो आपने बताया that you were able to open schools and you have 90% plus attendance. This is a very big deal because most parts of India do not have an attendance like this, and there the picture looks quite gloomy. And you started a crowdfunding campaign for assisting people with digital equipments and so that they could continue learning. So thank you so much, Arpiji. Let me invite the next speaker for today. She'll add the higher education perspective to the discussion. She has a very long history of working with schools, and now she is in the higher education arena of it. So let's have an understanding from her, the change in the transition from school life to college life of students in a disrupted, academic calendar that India is experiencing at the moment. So over to Ms. Anju Devskar, Associate Director Admissions Outreach, Flame University, Pune. Anju ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Daksh. It was lovely to hear Sue and Arpit just now from the school perspective, and school's been very close to my heart. Spent 15 years in that arena. So I think learning actually never stopped. It just, the perspective changed. We were resisting the technological inclusion in our, and especially I'm talking about the Indian context. I mean, to us, technology, if we had smart boards and ICT as a subject, we thought we were we were technologically very, advanced, or we were doing the right thing. But I think what we learned with not with a pinch of salt, or rather a bucket of salt probably, was that there was no way out. We had to leave the certain practices that we were doing. So learning, and anyways, this generation is a do-it-yourself generation. So I think information with the students is available. Now the practice of teaching essentially, I think, needed a basic shift where you had to tell the students how to make meaning of the information that they had, and there's so much of it which is available. Now, coming to, how did it really transform in a higher education setup? So luckily, I think higher education has been lucky landscape where online teaching is pretty much there for the last 10 years, though it was in a backseat. So everything just moved forward, and students were absolutely at it. Faculties, of course, they had to, people had to get comfortable with their, technical skills and everything. But there's one thing which I thought was more prominent with the school education, where students were missing coming from school. I have niece and nephew. They're very happy at home. They love learning online. But my son, who's a college goer, he is so, and what I hear from all the other students as well, I think these students, they've been under protection of teachers and parents, in the schooling years. These people were really wanting to go out on the campus. Campus life is something different. So that has been really, really a very not so good experience for students, and especially the ones who joined this year. So they don't know. I mean, they're feeling terrible that they've come to a college and they're still sitting in their bedroom or, doing the same thing. So I think it's, the education never stopped, the ways changed. And I think kudos to the complete teaching fraternity, whether it's a school or a college. There was no vacation. We didn't have a summer break. We didn't have a winter break. I think people use that time to train themselves and, get on with the right foot forward. Not even a single day break. So yeah, that's all I have to say. All good things. There was slightly challenging though, but I think it was very, very, it was required that people had to get, technology into education. And I didn't repeat any of those because Arpit really explained so beautifully. It is very technologically heavy, education now for going forward. And I don't think so it's going to change. I think the blended learning format that one is hearing so much about, that is going to stay. Online delivery of lessons will never go away.
Thank you so much, Anju ma'am. And to summarize what you said, and since you were just near your conclusion, so education resisted technology and they accepted it with a bucket of salt, that's for sure. But our technology has intruded us so badly that now we need the human factor again. And that's why people now are talking about emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. So most of the schools have started with rehabilitation classes for students, because the student who has actually come back to the school has a completely new mindset towards life and towards people interaction, because he has been at home. And one of the school principals rightly noted that every kid after every 15 minutes wants to lie down, because that's what he was doing at home. So the mental structure of being in a class has absolutely changed. Higher education easily transitioned. The DIY generation, ये बात एकदम हकीकत है, बच्चे सब कुछ खुद करना चाहते हैं. Students did not miss school, but for college people, the college life never started. So for them, it was a big disappointment, but for the school kids, it was like a long holiday that they were enjoying. And even during the classes, they were enjoying all sorts of virtual world activities. So thank you so much, Anju ma'am. Let me now know the next speaker for today, Ms. Maushumi Das, Principal, SDSM School of Excellence, Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. Ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Daksh. Good evening, everyone. Most of you have already spoken what is the creativity, what is the future going to be like. But let me start with the positive point. The lockdown actually unlocked the potential of teachers and students. The teachers who never used technology in the classroom or beyond classrooms learned how to use technology, how to take online classes, how to modulate, how to keep the students out of the class, and so many things. So that proves that there was no lockdown to education. And now the future will be a lot of infrastructural changes. To answer the first question of Daksh, lot of infrastructural changes now, proper ventilation, huge rooms, sanitizers with students, and masks made mandatory, immunity hotspots. Immunity is one of the most important areas for all children, because I am in a school. +2 school, I deal till students or till age of 18, where the immunity is to be taken care of the maximum. Then when we talk of equality in education, from individual attention, it's now equality in education. Now we have to see whether students are getting what the teachers are teaching, whether teacher is reaching each house because of internet connection, because of lack of connectivity. There are lots of problems. In spite of that, teachers have been able to manage. And now that the school has reopened for 10 and 12, this is a pilot project. It is like an experimentation where students have to explore and learn. So the schools are undergoing an actual transition phase where online and offline, both kinds of educations are entertained now. Then when we talk of the teachers training, what was most important during COVID is the empowerment of the teachers. And if the teachers are empowered, the children get the best out of it. So teachers training was very important. And now this has to continue. Teachers have to be trained not only on technology, but on the psychological impact, because there are so many children who have lost their relatives, some have lost their parents. And now when they come to school, we can all imagine what the scenario is going to be. Children have to explore and learn, so we have to be prepared. We as school leaders have to provide ample platform for critical thinking, for creativity, for children to, we have to give them opportunities for learning and growing together. And most important is experiment, fail, explore, learn. Then because Daksh has given me so less time, I've made acronym. What we require now, creativity and innovation. Now what we require is passion and patience, which is very, very important. Passion and patience to deal with the children. Thank you. Then we need integration, integrated art learning, which even CBSE has prescribed, and innovation. Innovation in every action, new thinking, new thoughts, new ideas, and newly expanded areas. Then we need compassion and creativity. Compassion and creativity will, from the teacher's part, will enable the learners to overcome all the troubles and then learn. Because learning is going to be tough now. Teaching may be easier because it's digitalized, but learning will be tough. We have to ensure that we reach out to every child. Then we have to nurture children through novel thoughts, novel ways. And then immunity is very, very important, which may lead to the inner peace. Inner peace now is very important with the thought processes and critical thinking. How to go about how.
Thank you so much, Maushumi ma'am. To summarize what you said, this lockdown typically unlocked the potential of teachers. वो जितना कर सकते थे उससे काफी कुछ ज्यादा किया, काफी हद तक ट्रेन भी हुए, अपने आप को अपग्रेड भी किया, अपस्किल भी किया. इम्यूनिटी हॉटस्पॉट्स, स्कूल्स यही थे. आप स्कूल्स को अगर आप, if you look at it from a different perspective to the whole discussion, when toddlers and these children met in school, they exchanged viruses that built their antibodies. तो वो biological development एक साल के लिए postpone हो गया. So this is something that was missed. And most importantly, kids lost their safe space. They had a place where they could talk to their peers, be connected to them, and have discussions that they cannot have anywhere else. That is the biggest loss that they had, because इसने emotion और intelligence दोनों को impact किया. Individual attention is the new norm. We need personalized learning. Digital infra, a big challenge, empowering teacher training, passion and patience, integrated learning, innovation, compassion, and creativity. And we must remember one thing: the only thing that artificial intelligence or machine learning cannot do is something that humans need to do. Both of these technologies, or any form of technology, can only work on past trends and past experiences. Humans are the ones who do not need that. You can handle any challenge, even if it comes to you for the first time, which technology cannot do. So this is where the human factor becomes critical, and this is where the new objective or new focus of the education should be in 2021. So thank you, Maushami ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mr. Trilok Singh Bisht, Principal, Delhi Public School from Ghaziabad, Vasundhara, Ghaziabad. Over to Trilok ji for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Please unmute yourself.
A very good evening, everyone. I think my predecessors, all these speakers before me, have already spoken everything. So there's not much to speak, but I'll just say reopening of school, a challenge, is a big question mark. And when we reopened the school for 9 to 12, we found that, initially the parents were not very apprehensive about sending their children. They were quite apprehensive, and 10th and 12th children had come almost in 90 to 100%, but 9th and 11th, it was very, very thin attendance because they were in their comfort zone. They didn't want to come out of their comfort zone. As Daksh said, that they are in the habit of, lying down after every period, because 10 minutes break we give them. Due to the screen time, after every period, there's a 10 minutes break. Then after 3 periods, there's going to be half an hour break. I think that is what the pattern every school has taken. So I think the children are in the comfort zone. They're not stepping out. And moreover, what we were talking about, the interpersonal skills, when they were coming and meeting their friends and talking, that they are more comfortable in their, Instagram, their Snapchat, and their WhatsApp, and I know what not. They have so many other things which we are not even aware of. They become digitally so very strong. So bringing them back to the school and bringing them back to the hybrid kind of a system, because from there we have to bring them back to the, school, physical school as well. That is going to be a big challenge. My reflections on these 9 months is, Bloom's taxonomy talks about the educational standards. How do we teach with the Bloom's taxonomy? Here, I just believe that the reflection also can be done with the Bloom's taxonomy. Levels of reflection, just like that, can be remember what did I accomplish in these 9 months, understand what is the importance about what I did, and then the apply. Where could I use this information, the knowledge which I gained in these 9 months, then analyze, are there patterns in my work, in my behavior, or evaluate how well did I do, what could be done differently. It is for the teacher as well as students. And finally, extend. How can I use this knowledge in future work? That is the application one. If you really see, these are the 6 channels of Bloom's taxonomy, which can be a reflection for the student as well as teacher. We need to reflect on what did we do, how we are going to go further. I think my 3 minutes are over. Daksh, before you mute me, I'll just say thank you to everyone. Arpit, it was so wonderful meeting you virtually here. Anju, it is so good to see you in 1 month's time twice. And Sue and everyone, it's really beautiful. Daksh, you're doing great guns. And I'm sure if we all work together, we can take the Gibbs reflective cycle also, where he says, what is the description, what are the feelings, what are the evaluation, analysis, conclusion, and the action plan. If the conclusion says, what else could have been done, and then the action plan, how I'm going to take it forward. If it is, if this kind of a situation comes again in the future, I think we have learned a lot in these 9 months. If now we are ready to face this kind of situation ever in the future.
Thank you so much, Trilok sir. From Bloom's taxonomy, you related the whole school's education cycle. Thank you so much. 9th से 12th के लिए when you opened the schools, 9th, 10th और 12th में तो attendance पूरी है. 9th, 11th अभी chilled mode पे है. वो वापस school आके वापस पढ़ाई में जाना नहीं चाहते. And for them, Instagram is the new digital society. For them, Insta is the community, and that's where they want to be. शायद reality उतनी उनको जरूरत अभी नहीं लग रही है अपने आसपास. Application patterns in their work and what could be done differently. अब ये different word जो है इसको बहुत सारे नए meanings चाहिए. We'll have to go into the genesis of this and find much more meanings to this word. And एक चीज जो सभी जने बोलने से डरते हैं, since we cannot say abnormal, that's why we say new normal. तो अब वो mentality change जो बच्चों की है, उसको थोड़ा ज्यादा डेवलप करना पड़ेगा, उस पर थोड़ी और वर्किंग चाहिएगी. Because what we can see right now, we as adults as well have totally altered our ways of interacting with the society around us. So we must remember the kind of society that we need in the future, वो interactions बच्चों और community के बीच में हमें ही moderate करने होंगे. So thank you so much, Trilok ji. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mr. Uma Shankar Singh, Principal, GGPS CBSE School from Bokaro, Jharkhand. Uma Shankar ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, one and all, and Jai Hind. And thank you very much, dear Daksh, for inviting me to be a part of such a wonderful galaxy of intellectuals, educators, knowledge managers, and thought managers. It's indeed, in fact, a blessing in disguise. If we talk about, the current scenario, that is pandemic or COVID-19, it has really, in fact, just created a lot of opportunities for us to learn in new ways. It has, of course, in fact, impacted the perception and perspective. But altogether, I feel as an educator, based on my experience, that, it is going to, in fact, I would say, help us develop emergency skills. This is very important. Emergency skills, intuitive learning. I would say now altogether, I would say that, the NPE 2020 has come up with the concept of 21st century skills. So 21st century skills like learning skills, life skills, technological skills, these skills will have enough platform, enough space to, in fact, do something worthwhile, do something remarkable. So this is really a great time for us because, children, the teachers, the parents, all stakeholders are in active mode of learning. All have become learning partners. Even the government is going to come up with a concept of the new drive that is P system. Private-public partnership in learning arena, in educational field also, for the kind of information you might be knowing. So the thing is that, we have to take it in a very right way, that it has really developed us, in fact, as an emergency learner. It is going to help us to, I would say that, improve emergency skills, intuitive learning. That is very, very important. And you talk about, I would say that, technological literacy, that is media literacy, that is information literacy, that is technological literacy. Apart from that, flip, that is, in fact, which are different parts of, I would say, the components of, life skills. That is flexibility. We have become very flexible and flexible in approach, and we are going to give autonomy to the children, the teachers. That is learning autonomy. That is very, very important, that we are going to give learning autonomy to the children, the teachers, all stakeholders to think in different ways. And it is going to broaden the horizon of learning. It is very important. That is flip, then leadership. Actually, it is a great time for us to, in fact, understand that how this condition is going to provide us a platform to develop self-assessment, self-regulations, self-examinations, introspections. It has really, in fact, made us, I would say, very productive, very prompt also in thinking different way. And it is really going to help us, in fact, to have inventive learning. Or children are going to become very innovative and inventive also, because they have been given a lot of opportunity. They are, in fact, staying confined in home. And they are really, in fact, feeling restless to come back to school and to join the school to get the feel of the human touch. So it's a place where human teachers cannot be.
Thank you so much, Uma Shankar ji. You started with emergency skills, intuitive learning, life skills, and private-public partnerships in the space of education, media literacy, flexibility and autonomy, leadership skills, and self-assessment and self-regulation. you are very right on all these parts कि जहाँ पे अब finally जो learner है वो epicenter में है, उसकी understanding epicenter में है, and this is what education really needed. What we kill first in a school is curiosity, and that's the only thing that we long for when we become a professional, because at that point we don't have that much of curiosity left in us to give us that kind of a growth trajectory in our careers. So we need to understand the little balance that we need between the skills that we develop, the sanskar that we put onto it, and the kind of discipline that we want from him. So a kind of a balance between all these three. Before I invite the next speaker, on all these talks, hum log is platform, we design it in such a way that all strata of education and learning come to this very arena to share their problems, so that we do not at any point get inclined or impacted or influenced towards only one sort of problems and one sort of issues. So the next speaker comes from a tier 3 town, and before I welcome them, दोनों तरीके की भाषाएं, हिंदी अंग्रेजी मैं इसीलिए बार बार बोलता हूं, because language should never be the measurement of knowledge. भाषा कभी भी ज्ञान का पैमाना नहीं होता, इसलिए भाषा जो इस्तेमाल करना चाहे करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि आइडिया छूटना नहीं चाहिए. So before I invite the next speaker, छोटे शहरों में बहुत अलग तरीके के challenges हुए, वहां स्कूल रिज्यूम नहीं हो पाए हैं, वहां फीस रिज्यूम नहीं हो पाई है, फाइनेंशियल मॉडल्स ब्रेक डाउन हो गए स्कूल के. सो नाउ आई इनवाइट द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर फॉर टुडे, मिस सुधा पांडे, प्रिंसिपल मिश्रास पब्लिक रेजिडेंशियल पब्लिक स्कूल फ्रॉम देवघर, झारखंड. सुधा मैम, ओवर टू यू फॉर द नेक्स्ट 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
Hello, thank you Daksh for giving me a chance to speak here. First of all, I would like to express myself in Hindi. और सबसे पहले कोविड-19 क्राइसिस में जो सामने आई बातें कि हमारे जो टीचर्स हैं, हमारे स्कूल के जो टीचर्स हैं, उन्होंने अपने आप को बहुत कुशल बना लिया अपने आप को, क्योंकि अभी जो कोविड-19 क्राइसिस के पहले जो टीचर्स पढ़ा रहे थे, उसमें केवल बच्चे देख रहे थे, बच्चे सुन रहे थे, प्रिंसिपल मॉनिटर कर रहे थे. लेकिन अब वो कैसे पढ़ाते हैं बच्चों को, ये पूरी फैमिली देख रही है, पूरा परिवार बैठकर देख रहा है कि उनके टीचर कैसे उनके बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं. ऐसे सिचुएशंस में मैंने पाया कि सारे टीचर्स ने अपने आप को अपडेट कर लिया, इम्प्रूव कर लिया, उनकी पढ़ाने की तकनीक भी बहुत सुधार हो गई. और जो ट्रेनिंग के दौरान हम लोग उनको नहीं सुधार पाते थे, जब उन्होंने देखा कि पूरा परिवार, पूरा समाज उनको देख रहा है, तो वो खुद ब खुद उनमें बहुत सुधार मैंने देखा. दूसरी बात है कि मैंने ये पाया कि बच्चे बहुत जो 10 और 12 के बच्चे आ रहे हैं, उसमें से इस 8 महीनों में जो दौर से वो गुजरे हैं, इमोशनल लॉस, जो पेन है, जो कोई परिवार का उनका कोविड में गुजर गए या दूर हो गए, तो ऐसे में उन लोगों को उन बच्चों का जुड़ाव बहुत ज्यादा हो गया अपने परिवार से, अपने समाज से. तो जब वो लौट कर आए तो मैंने उन बच्चों में एक बहुत बड़ा बदलाव देखा कि वो कोई बच्चा बहुत अच्छा टेक्नीशियन बन गया, कोई बहुत कुशल फार्मर बन गया, अपने बारी में, अपने बगीचे में, अपने खेतों में वो खेती करना सीख गया, जो शायद मारपीट करके उनके पेरेंट्स उनको नहीं सिखा पा रहे थे. लेकिन इस कोविड-19 क्राइसिस के दौरान उन बच्चों में बहुत बदलाव देखा मैंने, और बहुत खुशी जब वो स्कूल आए पहले दिन, तो वो कुछ बच्चों ने तो फूल गोभी, धनिया पत्ता और पालक के पत्ते लेकर आए, ये दिखाने के लिए कि मैम मैंने ये सब उगाया इन दिनों में. तो ये बहुत अच्छा बदलाव मैंने देखा. और मुझे ये लगा कि हमारे स्कूल में भी हमारे टीचिंग पैटर्न को थोड़ा सा बदला जा सकता है, बच्चों के अंदर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शेयरिंग लाई जा सकती है. तो और बच्चों को अगर हम में जिम्मेदारी लेना सिखाएं, तो बच्चे जो इतना स्ट्रेस में से गुजर रहे थे इन दिनों, इतने महीने, ये थोड़ा हम लोग अपने जब हम लोग स्कूल को फिर से दोबारा चालू करें पूर्ण रूप से, तो हम अपने पढ़ाई के सिलेबस में ऐसी चीजों को जरूर रखें जिससे बच्चे अपने परिवार से और समाज से पूरी तरह जुड़ पाएं और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज शेयर कर सकें. तो ये चीजें भी बहुत जरूरी है जब हम स्कूलों को खोलें.
थैंक यू सो मच सुधा मैम. आपने एक नया पर्सपेक्टिव पूरे डिस्कशन में ऐड किया. व्हेन वी टॉक ऑफ tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India, the biggest challenge that they face is the financial pressure that COVID gave, the health and the what you can say a lot of people lost their lives. It was not a very good or a rosy picture in most of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And where the schools were not able to function. There was no fees that was coming. The parents were not earning well. And with so many pressures, when they found new innovations within their lives to continue learning, that is something amazing. That increased their connect with the family, their emotional intelligence, their emotional quotient. And as Sudha ma'am gave a very nice example, that when these kids came back to the school, they brought with themselves the produce of their farm, the vegetables that they had grown, as their sense of achievement that came with that vegetable, that this is now the new thing that I know, that I learned during this time. So this is the way education is evolving. Some small little things that we had forgot to include in the syllabus now found its own space within the syllabus. So thank you so much, Sudha ma'am, for taking the discussion to a new dimension. Let me now invite the next speaker for today. And I'm sure I would do a mistake in pronouncing her name, but I would, with respectfully, take her, surname, Ms. Subramaniam, who's the principal of Shakti Vinayakar Hindu Vidyalaya from Thuthukudi, Tamil Nadu. A very warm welcome, ma'am. I'm sorry I cannot pronounce your first name because I'll surely do a mistake in that.
So, yeah, thank you. Very happy evening to all. I'm Isaki Ammal Subramanian. And yes, actually, to begin with, a new normal. First question of your point was, what about the future? And a new normal will continue for the next academic year also. Maybe half of the academic year, we may have to follow the new normal situation. Now for the what we did in our school, almost our school now we have learned after months, we are almost like running the school, maybe online. The only thing we miss is the children, but all our activities are going on, classes, video classes, then the online tests, then the intra-school competitions, inter-school competitions, and all the maybe extra we are doing this time. One thing is the children's talents have been identified by the parents. They have recorded and they have gone on air. So many students' talents are now brought out. Also, now one thing we have gone is for the first this month, they are writing notes and the parents are bringing to school and we are checking their notebooks, and they are also writing 9th to 12th are writing exams at home on the paper and they are bringing to school and we are correcting. So this we have started doing it because they should not lose touch with writing. Okay, and now coming for the strategies, what are the innovative strategies or the strategies which we have to follow when we reopen schools? The first one is we have to, I think all schools have to make lines and boxes at a distance to maintain distance, maybe along the corridor, in the classrooms or in the assembly hall or everywhere, so that children are inside the box and they don't come near each other. So this is one thing which can be followed by every school. Next is a temperature check. 1 or 2 at the entrance will take a long time. And so the children can enter and meet the class teacher at some point, and the teachers can take the temperature check, which will save time. The next is every child should be insisted to bring his or her own water bottle, sanitizer, small towel, tissue, and snacks. And the snacks should not be shared strictly. And more washrooms should be ensured. And one more thing, the government can say that 20 in a maximum 20 can be accommodated in one classroom in a session, which means maybe 40 divided by 2 will be 20 in a session. So 2 shifts every school can go. So morning shift and afternoon shift. So all the children will come every day. And it can be 8:30 to 12:30 and 1:30 to 5:30, and depending upon the situation. And after 2 hours break, there should be a time or the bell for hand sanitizer. So every child should be asked to use hand sanitizer. And a very important one is teachers and students both have to be insisted to follow, but even our teachers did not follow when they came into the campus, and somewhere in, COVID-19, they caught and they were admitted in hospitals. So what I would suggest is whether teachers or students tell them that they have to strictly follow, if not, they can be suspended. And instead of mask covering face and mouth, the mask, full face mask can be used by everybody because it actually affects our breath. And the next video classes can continue. And only this direct class can be to clarify the doubts so that the time, shortage of time can be compensated. And next is individual events can take place in extracurricular and sports activities. See, group activities can be avoided, but individual activities should continue because school should compensate both. And next is awareness. Every week is a must. Actually, that.
Thank you so much, Subramanian ma'am. You talked about the operations of the school. उसमें आपने पूरी sanitary requirements या sanitation requirements जो है वो सारी बता दी, and that's quite something that's needed at the moment. And a very nice idea was given by one of the school leaders in the morning session today that every school should now start dividing its HR into 2 different silos that have teachers dedicated for online teaching and have teachers dedicated for the offline teaching, so that nobody gets a lot of pressure and you always have somebody to take care of the teaching learning process to continue. So thank you so much, ma'am. Before I go on to the next speaker, Trilokji has to go for a training with the CBSE. So Trilokji, thank you so much for joining. You can go for your training and take that training with CBSE. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I would now invite the next speaker for today, Ms. Leela Govind, former principal GBN School from Faridabad, Haryana. Leela ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Daksh. It's always a pleasure to be with the Blub group. Now, to get started immediately, what I feel is that till now, we've been able to survive on the emotional charge that we have stored within. For all the years that we have known our friends, classmates, colleagues, this pandemic period, we were able to manage because of this charge that we had, emotional charge that we had within us. But now soon we will need a recharge. This is not going to last much longer. So when we remember our friends and don't meet for a long time, we reconnect easily and eagerly. But then this relation needs nourishing. So our online classes as a stopgap has worked to a lesser extent or a more higher extent, but we need to get back to contact classes. Now, as the other speakers have pointed out, contact classes, there's a lot of risk and we need to take all precautions. Now, ensuring all COVID precautions requires more adults for supervision because we don't want a single child to be exposed to any kind of infection. Now, this means we need more staff. We need to ask a few parents to volunteer so that we are able to ensure that all the COVID precautions of distancing are maintained, because it's not, you cannot scold the children and get all these precautions followed. We have to persuade them, remind them repeatedly, for which we need many more adults than what we normally have in a ratio of say 1:30 for teacher students. Now, teachers connecting with students, this now has to be in small groups. Though the government says 20, but I find that in actual practice, if you have more than 10 children in the study group, then the connect between the children and the teachers is deficient. Now, it has to be, when it's online, it has to be a video conferencing. What now we do is, because we can't take such a big load, we ask everybody, just as here, we ask them to mute, but here, of course, it's for disturbance. But like it wouldn't really be quite so interesting if we couldn't see the speaker's face and we couldn't see each other. The children are not able to attend online classes in that manner. They all shut out their videos, and so it's not really, they're not really enjoying it. They're doing it as something which needs to be done at this stage. So blended learning, yes, definitely that's what is going to be the new normal. But then we have to make sure that they are in small batches. Whether now for when they come to school, it'll be for safety purposes, small batches. I would suggest not more than 10. And again, in online teaching learning too, the batches need to be small so that it's all like video conferencing, and the teacher and children are able to interact. Not only the children interacting with the teachers, but also children interacting with each other. Now, this should be the new normal, and whatever is the expenses required for that, like an earlier speaker spoke, we need to get some kind of sponsoring and ensure that everybody.
Thank you so much, Leela ma'am. You added the different line of thought that was required in the discussion, that we would need recharges अभी तक तो इमोशनल चार्ज जो था वो चल गया, लेकिन अब वो नहीं चलेगा, और अब टीचर्स को और सभी जनों को, बच्चों पे और पूरी कम्युनिटी पे बार बार ध्यान देके वो थॉट रिचार्ज देना पड़ेगा, that they get active with things. So thank you so much, Leela ma'am. Today, now we have with us the chair of the round table for today, जो अब हम लोगों के साथ ये एक्सपीरियंस अपना शेयर करेंगे कि वो शिक्षा जगत को कहाँ जाता हुआ देख रहे हैं और उनकी क्या भविष्यवाणी है 2021 के लिए, what's going to happen in education. So a very warm welcome to the chair of the round table today, Professor Dr. Devendra Pathak, the Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University from Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Devendra ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome, and the next 3 minutes are yours. You'll have to unmute yourself, sir.
I hope I am audible now.
Yes.
Thank you very much for giving me the occasion, and I am really very, very pleased to be in the company of the August gathering from schools to different intellectuals of the different institutions. The restructuring of education, this really is a million-dollar question. It's really a common interrogation to all the conscious humanity all over the world, because as on date, 1.80 billion students, say they are on the online teaching. Almost we are having, say, 2 billion students are there who are in the school going, plus who are in the college going, or right from say primary education to the higher education, almost 200 billion, 2 billion students are there who are there in the system. But out of that 180, the available data, which actually the UNESCO that has released the data, they say that 1.80 billion students, they are on the line. For almost last some 7-8 months, we have been putting the students on the line. I feel really the students, as well as our faculty members, they are tired of the screen, facing the screen. But what is the future? What are the alternatives? One, Mr. the NPTEL, National Portal for Technology Enhanced Learning, they say that this has become our compulsion. We probably, the researchers, they say that probably 2021 also we are not going to, hardly we are going to get any relief. Especially, I really am concerned with the school-going children, those who are the adolescent. So for them, really the problem is far, far bigger and far, far having so many ramifications. In our higher education, at least, because we are having the adult students, but still we have not been able to summon the courage to call them physically in the classes, although the government now have come out with a different government, the state governments with the different notifications they have given. In our, especially I am in Uttarakhand now, so Uttarakhand government, they have asked us that you can ask your students to report in your campus from 1st of February. But still there are issues, really the conditions that they have put in, the standard operating procedures that they have laid down, the government, the MHRD, the UGC, and the other higher education bodies. So that probably hardly will be able to meet, because we have to get the consent from the parents, then we have to get the negative report of the students, 72 hours prior report should be there, then the distance, social distancing maintenance, and all those paraphernalia is there. But the solution, whether we are having any other solution, although frankly speaking, I will cite an example in Denmark. They were on online education right probably from say 2016-17, they have switched over to maximum on the online education. In 2019, their IC system crashed. It was a very, very national crisis. So when it crashed, they were forced to ask their students to come to the schools physically, and they had to run the classes physically. But the results that they revealed, that the physical classes were far, far better than the online classes, the remote classes. Because the physical classes, you are able to really have an eye-to-eye contact, your body language, you are able to read the sentiments of the students, you are able to pass on your emotions to the students, you are able to connect with the students. At the same time, the students also are able to connect, you create a scenario and a synergy that is very, very conducive for the dispensation of the knowledge. But those things are missing in the online, much as our faculty members, they have tried to bring in all sorts of, say, attractions by audio and video. Still the impact really has not.
Thank you so much, Devendra sir, for adding this perspective. This is a timed platform, so once your speaking time is over, you get muted, but we'll come back to you for the closing thoughts. So now I have to invite the next speaker. Before I invite a summarization of what you said, there are nearly 1.80 billion students right now within the education system across the globe, that the UNESCO data says, and faculty members being absolutely tired. And आपने लास्ट में जो डेनमार्क का एग्जांपल कोट किया कि जो 2016 से पूरी तरीके से ऑनलाइन पढ़ा रहे थे, 2019 उनके लिए भी एक हैप्पी रियलाइजेशन मोमेंट था when they thought that yes, physical classes had to be done, and they realized that these physical classes are much, much better. So thank you so much, Devendra ji. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mr. Abhijit Banerjee, Headmaster, Amarpati Lions Citizens Public School from Siliguri, West Bengal. Abhijit ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
Good evening, Dusk. And it's a pleasure for me to see myself here in the Blub World screen. And basically, I would like to restrict myself on the 3 points. First of all, the restarting education. For me, it's a recover education. It depends on 3 Ds, that is discipline, dedication, and devotion. Why devotion? Because it was a 6-hour session when offline classes were going on. Now it is 24/7. Teachers are busy over here. Second point, innovative approach. Innovative approach for me, it's a mind mapping. Whenever you are going to start any topic, you can give a topic to the students. Students can think about it, and you can explore that. Student can explore that particular topic. That can be possible through online as well as offline. And the third point, future education. Basically, it depends on GST. GST is a very familiar word for us. Good screening timing. Good screen timing. As long as we are here, as a teacher, as a facilitator, we need to share our time in the screen in such a way so that students will get the encouragement from our end, and they'll feel to do something good for their future. That's all for me. Apart from that, online lab is also available in the form of OLab India, and we are using that in the form of innovative education. Thank you once again for giving me an opportunity over here. Thank you, Dusk.
Thank you so much, Abhijit sir. And yes, GST, good screen time, is something that we are all looking at. But बच्चे अब जब ऑनलाइन आते हैं तो Minecraft या YouTube के अलावा टाइम क्लासेस को देते भी हैं कि नहीं, ये बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, क्योंकि छोटे से छोटा बच्चा अब ये चीजें सीख गया है that he knows how to spend his time online rather than attending the class. टीचर्स के लिए बहुत ज्यादा टायरसम हो रहा है ये, एंड छोटे शहरों में बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है क्योंकि वहाँ पेरेंट्स अभी उतने कंड्यूसिव स्टेट में नहीं है. So thank you so much, Abhijit. So we have listened to all the speakers. Now the next 2 to 3 minutes to 4 minutes are an open floor. So by chance, if you're muted before your time, you had some more point that you wanted to contribute, if you want to add something to the discussion, you can just raise your hand. I'll take your name and then the next 1 minute goes to you. So if you've missed to anything, want to add anything to the discussion, then the next minute is yours. Sue, over to you for the next 1 minute. Please unmute your audio.
Yeah, okay, cool. Just want to say that the governments around the world should endorse parity of esteem between academic and well-being outcomes in schools. This should involve supporting schools to adopt a whole school approach to well-being and mandating an annual well-being assessment for every student and teacher across the country. And that should form part of any accountability structures going forward. I believe it will take commitment and courage to build new bridges towards a new vision in education globally, with young people, of course, firmly at the heart of the process. But what I think about this wonderful platform today is we are all part of the jigsaw. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to join you. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you so much for your expert control of the whole situation.
Thank you so much, Sue. We've tried to create this platform in, again, a sprint format, so the best content comes out quickly. So just before this call comes to an end, Blub World works on a very simple concept of teens inspiring teens. Every month, we try to find teenagers across the globe who are doing great work and share their inspiring stories, struggles, and successes with other teens across the world. And when we talk of education, the most important thing that we forget, at least in India, is the final user of this, the final consumer of this, the student. And that's why in every such roundtable, we have started a new practice of inviting one teenager to express his views in his or her art format. So today we have with us somebody who will give in a new taste or flavor to this whole discussion, the teen poet. And one of the teen poets that we united today is Aviral Sharma. He comes from Kanha Makhan Public School, Vrindavan, Uttar Pradesh. And he has an amazing anecdote to share with all of you. So Aviral, a very warm welcome to the platform. The next 3 minutes are yours. Please unmute yourself and we are eager to listen to you.
हर परिस्थिति में जिंदा हूँ मैं, खुले आसमान का परिंदा हूँ मैं, बेखौफ बेपरवाह बंजारा। इस 21वीं सदी में इस कोरोना के समय में मैंने जाना कि हमारी जिंदगी कितनी भागदौड़ में बीती है और हम आखिर में बंजारे ही तो हैं। एक बंजारा एक जगह से दूसरी ओर भागता रहता है, दौड़ता रहता है कि वो जी सके। तो उसी के ऊपर मैंने कुछ लिखा है, वो सुनाना चाहूँगा कि बंजारे ही तो हैं हम, कुछ दर बदर बेसबर कठिनाइयों से बेखबर, कुछ डर कर सहम कर रुकने की बात अमल कर, हम पथ पर अपने चल रहे हैं, हम थक रहे हैं, लड़ रहे हैं, हालातों से हम अपने संभल के संवर रहे हैं। बंजारे ही तो हैं हम, घर नहीं पर सशक्त हैं, इस संसार से विरक्त हैं, मेहनत से जीवन सींच कर उन बारिशों में भीग कर चल पड़े हैं उन रास्तों पर जिसकी मंजिल का नहीं पता, पर सफर को सफल करने की एक आरजू है और दिल में एक विश्वास। हम बंजारों की कोई जात नहीं, पर फिर भी जहां भी जाते हैं हमसे एक सवाल पता है, यह रूढ़िवाद समाज जातिवाद की झूठी मिथ्या में हमको बांधता है, काटता है, बांटता है, देवियों को पूछता है और हमारी बेटियों को हर लम्हा मारता भी है। हम सोचते हैं थे कि ये कर्म ही महान है, कर्म ही प्रधान है, कर्म ही तो धर्म है और कर्म ही तो मोक्ष है, पर नहीं। आज के इस रूढ़िवाद समाज ने हमें बताया कि आप कर्म धर्म नहीं, धर्म ही लोगों का कर्म बन चुका है। इस सबके बीच क्या हम थके हैं? हाँ, हम थमे हैं पर हम हारे नहीं, उस एक उम्मीद का भी सहारा नहीं, स्वयं को नाकामियों को भेदते देख रहे हैं, हम वह धातु हैं जो स्वयं को शमशीर बनते देख रहे हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, Aviral. Art is the only format which really gives you the perspective into the inner feeling of any human being. इसलिए बच्चों से किसी न किसी फॉर्म ऑफ आर्ट को करवाना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि आपसे शायद वो ना खुल पाए, लेकिन वो आर्ट फॉर्म उन्हें आपसे जरूर खोल देगा. So before we really end this call, on the 10th of January, the Global Education Meet comes to an end on Sunday from morning 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have an amazing lineup of guests that day, and we'll be declaring the best ideas on that day and awarding the school leaders who have given those best ideas, and we'll be publishing the first white paper of the Global Education Meet and the third white paper by BloveWorld of the innovative ideas. So I request everybody to please attend on the 10th January as well, because there's amazing content that day. We have the chairman of All India Council for Technical Education coming in, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe. We have Dr. Sandeep Sancheti from SRM University. We have Dr. Sanjay Roy, the founder of Jaipur Literature Festival, coming in and sharing his thoughts about literature and education. And we have Padma Shri Gauri Ishwaran sharing her thoughts and innovations for 2021 and the plan for schools. So before this comes to an end, one small teen story that is there to inspire a lot of teens, and I hope it inspires you as well a little bit. The story comes all the way from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It's of a kid who had a disability since birth. His legs were fused, his hands, fingers were fused, and was somebody who could never leave a wheelchair. But the dedication of his teachers, his parents, gave him an exposure, an opportunity that changed his life and the lives of all such teenagers around him. And that very boy, from that very wheelchair, became the world surfing champion. And right now, he is only 13 years old, and that was the cover page of BloveWorld some months back, and that's David Texiaro. He lives in Rio de Janeiro, and every month we try to find teenagers like this and get them to interact with many, many more teenagers, because just very simple thing. Now, people don't learn. It's no more the information, you are no more the repository of knowledge, a teacher is no more the custodian of knowledge. It's only stimulation that you can give. and the best form of stimulation for teens is inspiration. So thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of the BloodWorld's 4th Global Education Meet. If you enjoyed and if you want to be a part of the future sessions, please open your audio, say a big yes, and thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. Thanks, Daksh. It was so nice. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Daksh. Thank you very much for this wonderful session.
Great learning.
It was a great learning experience for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being with us.
All the best for 10th.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, people. Bye-bye. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Stay safe.
Thank you so much. Bye.